We are talking again about emotional inflammation. This is our second week on it, and I have gotten through chapter 6 now. So we're going to talk today about chapters 4, 5, and 6 briefly. And if you haven't already, pick up a copy of the book, give it a read. I know I am still enjoying it. So let's get into it. Chapter 4 is all about the importance of identifying our feelings. Now, I find, and I'm sure that you do too, that a lot of value tends to be placed on our positive or feel-good emotions like happiness and excitement, and not as much is placed on our unpleasant emotions. We try to kind of ignore those or push them down. You know, we want more of the feel goods and not so much unpleasantness, which I guess that is natural, but those unpleasant emotions are there to be beneficial and to teach us more about ourselves as well. So if we try to drown those out or ignore them, we are more likely to have a host of other issues manifesting, such as excessive drinking, compulsive shopping, or, other numbing behaviors. And those unpleasant emotions can then build up until they explode, which that's not good for any of us. And a statement in this chapter that Dr. Van Susteren says that I really like is that specific emotions that are named are easier to manage, accept, or respond to. Now, if you need to, you can build up your emotional vocabulary. So you can go online and you can find a feelings wheel like the one I'm going to show here. And as you can see, this feelings wheel names dozens of specific feelings. So you can start to learn the nuances of all these different feelings and learn to specifically name what you're feeling. It can also help you if you learn to identify where in your body that these emotions manifest. For example, do you feel a tightness in your chest with certain emotions? For us, being able to accurately identify our emotions helps to process them. And that in turn teaches us more about ourselves and this whole human experience that we're having. This leads us into chapter 5, which discusses identifying our triggers. So just like we need to learn to identify our emotions, we also need to learn to identify our triggers. So when you feel a sudden shift in your mood, Dr. Van Susteren gives us a few questions we can ask ourselves to help us with the identification process. Those questions include, what just happened? Why am I suddenly feeling this way? What was I doing or thinking about before I began feeling this way? As with our emotions, being able to identify our triggers helps us to manage them and lessens the hold that they then have on us. And that was the big takeaway from chapter 5. So moving on to chapter 6, we look at how our environment and habits can also play a role in our moods. It's discussed at great length in this chapter how poor sleep habits can translate into poor moods. So poor sleep impacts our body's natural rhythms. This affects our hormone production, which then wreaks havoc on our emotional well-being. We become less tolerant and more easily triggered when our natural systems aren't functioning properly, increasing our eventual emotional inflammation. Now, sleep hygiene is not a new concept to me. I don't know if it is for you. But I'm already a person who has a set bedtime. I like to sleep in a dark room with no sound. So I'll tell anybody I like it pitch black and silent when I'm trying to fall asleep. However, something I have done recently is I've gotten out of the habit of turning off screens about an hour before bedtime. And we want to turn off those screens because it's necessary to limit that light coming in so that the body is triggered to produce melatonin. You know, that's one of those important hormones. After these 3 chapters, I feel like I've got some homework to do. Going forward, I'm going to work on my emotional awareness. I'm going to name my feelings throughout the day and take the time to pause and recognize any triggers that come up for me. Additionally, I'm going to practice turning off the TV and putting my phone away at least an hour before going to sleep. So, will any of you be making some changes of your own after these chapters? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and come on back next week to discuss the next few chapters. I'll see you then.